Hi, welcome back to Wavre Farms and Nursery. I'm Diane, and today we're standing kind of in my front yard. Now, as you can see, my yard's not perfect. It's a work in progress. I've been working on it off and on all summer, and it's just that time of year. So if your yard is not picture perfect, welcome to the club. It's always a work in progress. So today I wanted to focus on this big container that I've had for quite a while. It is this pretty green color, and it's kind of here at the end of my sidewalk. So I'm setting it here so that as you visit and as you come up this fall and this late winter season into the spring, you can watch and see how this container progresses. And we're going to touch back to this container a few different times throughout our filming season, so that you can see the different looks that we are creating at this time. So today we want to focus on pre-planting this container for spring. Now when I say pre-planting, I'm talking about sticking some stuff in the bottom of this container so we have a nice surprise in the spring. So that can be done with bulbs. Bulbs are a great way to start planting, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to layer this pot for spring, and then I'm going to layer it also for fall. And then we'll check back in the winter time and change it out a little bit just for the winter season. So as you can see, I've already started to pre-fill this big container. Now, I don't have any styrofoam, milk jugs, anything in this container because there's going to be a lot of product in here. And I really want to make sure that I've got enough dirt so that these roots have room to grow. So I've filled the bottom up. I'm going to pack it down just a little bit so that I can figure out my layering effect. I am down a fair amount, so about 6 inches is what I am down. So you figure about 6 inches, and so I'm going to layer the whole bottom of this with some beautiful bulbs. So I'm going to put some pink and orange kind of bulbs in here. These are going to bloom mid-spring, so we're going to stick some bulbs in this pot. Now, if I was planting these out in the landscape, I might plant a little differently, but since they're going to be in this beautiful pot, it's going to get quite full. So I'm just going to open my bulb bags, and I'm just going to dump them in. And I'm going to take another bag of bulbs. I'm going to dump these in as well. Now, you might be looking at how many bulbs are going into this pot thinking, oh my goodness, they are not spaced equally apart. However, I know that I want a nice solid container of tulip bulbs. So I'm going to quickly flip all these over so that the tips are pointing up. And I'm just going to pack these in the bottom of this pot. And I know that I want lots of stems. I know that this is probably only going to be a 1 or 2 season container pot for these because they are going to fill out quite nicely. However, you know, like so many of you, I have pets, and tulip bulbs tend to be more fragile than like your daffodil bulbs. But I just love tulips in the spring. They're just so happy, and this way I can put them in a pot without really worrying about anything walking through and breaking them off. So these are going to be down here in the bottom of my pot, as you can see. So then next I'm just going to cover those up. And I'm going to cover gently. Oops, here's one that didn't get flipped over. You do want to make sure that they're facing upright so that they grow the right way. And now I'm going to carefully take and put a little bit of dirt over the top of these, careful not to really disturb them. And then I'm just going to kind of pack this down and smooth it around. So those are all going to stay tucked gently in the bottom of this pot. Now we're going to zoom out just a little bit so that you can see the next layering of this pot. So as you just saw, we just covered those bulbs up. They're going to be tucked away safely down in the bottom of this pot. They're going to live there all winter long without being disturbed, and they're just going to kind of start to grow and put some roots on and be ready for spring. So those bulbs are going to come up about mid-spring, so probably about April is when you're going to see this beautiful pop of color. In the meantime, nobody wants to look at an empty pot. So we are going to plant it for fall. So I grabbed a beautiful grass. This is called pheasant's tail. It's got a really pretty orange green to it. I'm just going to put that right here in my pot. And I hadn't quite decided if I was going to plant it front to back. If I wanted to see it only from the front, then I might put this grass towards the back. However, I kind of want to see it from the house as well. So I'm going to stick it here. Now, you might notice that it's a little tall. I have a little bit too much dirt. If I was to continue planting, I'm going to have just a mess and all my dirt's going to run out. So I'm just going to dig a little hole down. Remember, my bulbs are down there, so I'm carefully going to kind of fish around right to the tops of my bulbs. I can just barely see my bulbs, and I'm just going to stick this grass right on top of my bulbs. Now, you may think this is just absolutely crazy because you're thinking, oh my gosh, these bulbs are going to come up, this grass is going to be there. No, the grass is going to be dormant when the bulbs come up. So I'm going to take this winter, I'm going to cut my grass off, the grass will be gone, the bulbs will come up. So it will be absolutely stunning display of tulips. So since we're planting for fall, I grabbed some beautiful mums. Can't say fall without a few mums, so we're going to stick a few of these in here like so. I grabbed 3 of the mums, so I'm going to put them kind of in a triangular shape, just to kind of get some color going around the pot. And I think this is just going to tie in really nice, be a nice soft yellow. But we are going into fall, so it's great to add a pop of color. So I'm going to stick in some of these red pansies just to give us some added color. So I'm just going to put a couple of these around and just kind of pack it full. Since plants that you plant in the fall, especially if they're like these fall blooming pansies, they don't tend to grow a lot. It does get cooler, so things really kind of slow down on growing. So you really kind of want to pack them full just to get some added color. So I'm going to stuff that in there like that. We're going to have the beautiful grass. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to quickly backfill this. And then I have one more added surprise that I'm going to add to this pot. So bear with me a sec while I do a little backfilling, because we want to make sure that we fill all of these nooks and crannies. So if I pull everything kind of towards the center and just kind of scoot everything in towards my grass, I won't have any hollow spaces. And you want to make sure that if I can fill all those spots, then I won't have any air pockets for it to dry out. So that's kind of the purpose behind backfilling. You take my bag and just add some dirt. And this way I can kind of fish it around through this planter. Now, I have it backfilled, I've got dirt all the way around, I got it on the sides. Everybody is tucked in here pretty nicely. So I have one more added surprise that I'm going to add. I will pick up more of these. I just didn't have very many today. But I have a handful of crocus bulbs. Now, crocus bulbs, if you remember, they tend to bloom in January, February. So remember, this container is going to be completely dead. My tulips aren't going to be up yet, and crocus bulbs only need to be planted a couple inches deep. So it's really easy for me to go in here and just stick them down inside this pot. I can go in and just randomly stick them down around my pansies. I can stick some kind of in the middle, and that way I am going to have some beautiful little crocuses popping up early in the season when nothing else is blooming. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.